Pretty much tell me that it cut me off immediately.
Rita, are we ready to go?
Almost, not
Oh.
quite.
Quite?
So,
Very good. Let's call the meeting to order. Flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Taylor, would you call the roll?
I'd be happy to. Vice Mayor Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner White. Here. Commissioner Orthwine. Here. Mayor Morgan.
Here.
Let the record show that also present are Town Manager Dunham, Assistant Town Attorney Nazaro, Police Chief Allen, myself, and let the record show that Commissioner Lyons is absent with notice.
Thank you very much. We've been presented with the minutes from the last several meetings. That was the regular meeting of September 11, the budget hearing meeting that same day, September 11, and the final budget hearing meeting on September 22nd. Are there any changes, corrections, or additions? If not, is there a motion to approve those three sets of minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwine.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stanley. All right.
Tom?
Yes, approved.
Mayor Morgan.
Thank you very much. There is a change to the agenda. Item 10A is being, that's the undergrounding project, conduit installation is removed and will be replaced by engaging Urban Design Kilday regarding comprehensive plan improvement. If you'll just make a note of that. Our next meeting is November 13th at 9 a.m. for anyone who wishes to attend. Public comment. Anyone wish to speak? Sir?
Good morning. Good morning. I was just gonna, Bob Burns, I live at 3312 North Ocean, right on the corner of Lakeview, and I just wanted to say that the contractors that are putting in the underground, the new water main are really, in my humble opinion, compared to the fact that it's been 10 years since we got our underground, everything else going with the other stuff, are just really doing an outstanding job. They spend a lot of time in front of my house and stuff, but there hasn't been any trash really around. Very cooperative people as far as somebody came by and wanted to park in the driveway and we let them, no problem. But anyway, just from a standpoint of one of the citizens, whoever you get to work on the next project, if they will do the kind of job that these guys are doing, you've done good. So I just wanted to say that from my perspective, they've really done an outstanding job, and hopefully it'll be done and get started on the next thing. While I'm up here, has it, I didn't go to the budget meeting, so has it been discussed about the fact of the, when we possibly do the sewers in the roadway, has that been discussed as far as maybe doing them together or whatever, what's kind of the status been? I was curious on that.
Yeah, there's, well, not the sewers, but there is the ancillary project, which is the improvement of the roads in the core here, and update us on that. But the idea was to have that project done at the same time as this.
I mean, we hadn't been decided about doing the sewers yet, correct?
Correct.
All right. So the deal is that it's possible that when the sewers have been approved, that maybe we're going to do the roads at the same time, or no?
Well, that's a different animal. That's redoing all the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you did the sewers,
Okay.
then you do the roads.
It just kind of,
Right.
I don't know a whole lot of stuff, but it just seemed like if you're going to do one, it would make good sense to have
Yeah,
to do
absolutely.
so. Okay, absolutely.
Thank you, and thank you, Bob. We appreciate the attaboy. It's nice to hear that. And really, the credit goes to the town manager. He's been Johnny on the spot with the contractors, every day. And really, that's why this project's moving so well. So thank you, Greg.
Thanks.
Anyone else wish to speak? If not, let's move on to the public hearing. We have an application for development approval by the Little Club, at 100 Little Club Road. First, any ex parte communications by commission?
Mayor Morgan,
Yes,
Mayor
sir.
Morgan, I'm just gonna cite that I have a voting conflict and I'm gonna recuse myself from this item.
Very good. And I have met with Ross Curtis, the president of the club, regarding this issue, some months back, just to get an idea of what they were intending to do. Okay, who's gonna speak on behalf of the club?
Good morning.
All right, you gotta be sworn in, Ross.
Raise your right hand.
Right.
Anybody that's going to speak, please. Give your names.
Joe Gomes.
Rob Leonard.
Russ Curtis.
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Good morning. My name is Russ Curtis, and I am the president of the Little Club, and we certainly appreciate the time and the opportunity to present our application. With me this morning is Joe Gomes from Spino O'Rourke, our architects, and our general manager, Rob Leonard. If necessary, our attorney, Tom Murphy, is available by phone if there's any legal questions that come up. Joe's going to be our primary presenter, and Rob certainly can address any operational questions you all may have. My role as the president is to ensure that the club is doing everything we can to enhance the experience for our members, but also to provide great working conditions for our staff. Today, we lack a staff break room, a place for the team to eat their meals, and adequate staff restrooms. While the club offers golf and croquet and cards, the primary activity for our membership is dining, and hence having the facilities to prepare food and take care of the kitchen and our wait staff is a critical component for the club's long-term viability. As I think you all know, the club is in the final stages of a renovation that was approved last year. When we applied to do that work, we were not in a position to address a kitchen renovation. Fortunately, the club's situation has significantly improved, and we're now ready to undertake a project which will address the working conditions in the kitchen and provide our staff with proper facilities similar to what the other Gulfstream clubs currently have. But to do that, we need your approval to fully enclose a partially enclosed area on the western side of the kitchen. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe now, and he's going to walk you through the current condition and the terrific plan that Spino O'Rourke team have come up with to address those issues.
Good morning, I'm Joe Jones with Spino O'Rourke. Thank you, Ross. If we could get the presentation on TV. Slide. Slide, thank you. So again, like Ross said, our major design objective is to provide an area for the staff that's proper, just like the other clubs in Gulfstream, by enclosing the current area that's on site. So your slide. So these are some of the existing photos of that area on the west side. As you see in the upper left corner, that's looking south into that area. The wall that you see on the right-hand side, that's the neighbor
can't understand him, can you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you may want to speak up because it is on the telephone speaker.
All right, I'll start again with the slide. So if you look at the upper left corner, you'll see the current condition of the photo looking south into that area. The bottom left corner is that area looking north. And then two photos of the inside. In the center, you can see the water heater. On the far right, you can see the employee, the staff locker area, kind of an area where they change kind of up to get their uniforms on. Slide. This is the overall survey of the property. The highlighted area is the area on the western side that we're speaking about. Slide, please. So as a team, we evaluated the current conditions of the site. So as you can see, you got the parking lot to the north, the parking field. To the east, we have our golf operations. In the center, we have the clubhouse itself. And on the south side, we have member area and golf course. And then it kind of leaves that little red area on the west side. That's the current staff area as our only option to kind of get a nice staff area for the staff. Slide. Renovation that we're ongoing, should be done by Thanksgiving. And then you see that open quasi closed in area on the west side, far right of the floor plan that you're looking at. Slide. And this is the proposed plan where you can see two staff employee correction, and hers, staff lockers, a little table to sit down, eat meals, and then also an area to receive, so you're not receiving on the outside. To clean that up, also to take the laundry, have that all contained within the building, not outside. Slide. This is the current roof plan. It's on the top. With the current renovation, we've taken a lot of time to hide as much of the equipment as possible. We've created roof wells to put the equipment into the roof wells so you can't see the equipment. So what's remaining is some equipment from the kitchen that we will be hiding now. If you look at the proposed plan, we will screening any and all remaining equipment for the kitchen. We're creating some screen walls. We're also going to contain all our water within site. We're going to capture that water, make sure it doesn't go run off onto neighboring properties. Slide. And starting from top to bottom, this is the north-facing elevation. The top is the existing conditions as with the renovation. If you look at the far right, you can see some of the equipment is still visible. It's dashed in. Center slide is our proposed screen and enclosed area on the west. And then the final bottom is with the landscape superimposed on top of that. Slide. This is looking north, south. So you can see the existing conditions on the top, and then at the bottom, we get the door and some landscape as well. Slide. This is looking east. At the top is the current condition where you can see the neighboring wall, and then you can see our proposed screen wall and a smaller screen wall to screen some of the exhaust hoods as well. And that's the neighboring landscape that's on their side. Slide. And then we're going to go through some photographs that we took. We have some existing photos, and then we superimposed our screen wall. So this is current condition looking from the golf course, looking northeast. Slide. And there you can just see it move up a little bit. The screen wall comes up. Slide. That's a slide looking east without being inside the neighbor's property. Slide. That's showing us moving some of that equipment so it's out of sight and also screening it. Slide. That's a view from the parking lot looking south. Yeah, as you can see on the far right, you can see some of the equipment poking up, the gray boxes. Slide. And here you can see that we've moved that equipment off that roof, added a screen wall in. Slide. And this is just back to area side. The area is the west side again. And I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Questions from the commission? Joe, there was some, letter from, one of the nearby residents, I can see this in this track, about the wall. Who will own the wall? Who will maintain the wall? Can I take that?
Sure. So the casitas, maybe I better get step in front. So the casitas owns the wall. It's on their property. And they will maintain their wall. In the construction, we will be building a new western wall of our building that will be essentially inside that wall, but on our property.
Okay, so there's actually, you're gonna be building a new wall adjacent to the existing wall that's there.
Correct.
Okay. And obviously that's the little clubs and they'll maintain.
Yes, and exactly, and part of the, I mean, obviously we need to have our own wall, rather than the neighbors, but, for obvious reasons, but the other reason is, at the request of the town, one of the key requests in the design was to ensure that we retained all of the water coming off the roof on our property. And so that's one of the reasons our wall is up 6 inches above their wall, to make sure we don't have a waterfall. When it rains hard, it'll all stay in an internal roof drainage system as opposed to cascading over their wall onto the community's property.
Okay. And I note that you relocated the, air conditioning units, the condensing units.
To our roof. To the roof.
And why did you do that?
They're currently on the ground unsightly, so we're creating a new roof area so we can screen it easier. Just to make that. And it's also easier for us to maintain it, keep track of it. And then their neighboring wall is 4 inches off the property line. So by code, we have to build our own wall in our property line, or our wall will be 4 to 6 inches off our property line, so we can carry our structure. So there will be a gap between the two.
Yeah, that was my next
Yeah.
question. Okay. There was also a question about ventilation, vent, that sort of thing, coming off the roof. Where are they located? What's being done to make them less sightly?
We're gonna screen them with a screen wall as well that will match the major screen wall that's covering the rooftop package unit up on top of the air conditioning unit. There's 3 hoods. One's a dishwasher hood, which is usually steam, and 2 are cooking hoods. Those are getting put on the northern end of the western portion of our addition.
When I visited the site, this improvement made sense to me because right now it's out in the open. So the noises, the smell, all the activity, would seem to be more of an imposition on neighbors than by enclosing it, as you're proposing. So, I just had those few questions about how you were addressing some of the improvements and perhaps some of the, sightly vents and whatnot on the roof, which you've answered. Any other questions?
If the wall is 6 inches off your property line and 4 inches off there, so we have 10 inches. If any, painting or repairs need to be done.
Only 3 inches.
Enough to access the wall, the inside, between the two.
It'll be a block wall, so there's not any really maintenance between on that wall. So what we'll probably, what we with the neighbors, probably put a cap on top, so we kind of aluminum cap between the 2 walls, with the neighbor's permission to try to get rid of any leaves and debris falling under. That's the right way to keep it clean. That way that reduces maintenance. Now you're not having a dirty area, that little area. Obviously, we're going to try to build it as close as possible. Yeah.
Questions, Tom? Oh, well, sorry, Tom, you recused yourself, forgot it. Anyone else wish to comment? Copy on?
Yes, I am on. You know, it's 3 inches, not 4 inches onto our property, the wall. But, you know, I'm glad to know they're going to cap it or something. I'm sort of worried about rats and things nesting between the 2 walls.
Okay, and do you think that they've addressed your concerns, Cuppy?
Yes, yes.
Very good.
Thank you. You asked some good questions, which we appreciate.
Okay, if there are any other questions? Any other comments from the Little Club? No, sir. Is there a motion?
I move to approve a variance to permit the extension of the west side of the existing building to the west property line, a distance of approximately 10 feet further into the required side setback.
Second?
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yes.
Mayor Morgan,
Yes.
And, I'll do a level 3 architectural site plan review to permit the renovation of the existing kitchen and the 745 square feet addition on the west side of the kitchen, and employee area to house employee lockers, restrooms, changing rooms, and a small lounge.
Is there a second?
Second?
Ms. Taylor?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, could I just say that we really appreciate everything that Rita and Greg and particularly Ross Curtis have done to accommodate us at the casitas. We really appreciate, you know,
Nice.
trying to make it all work and have everybody in a win-win situation. So thank you.
That's the beauty of living in a town like Gulf Stream. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, town manager, undergrounding and utility.
So I received, an email from Janine McEnroe of Comcast Cable that said the, invitations to residents to set up appointments to, finalize the equipment at their individual houses are being sent out today. That's good news from Comcast, and, we're still working through, issues with AT&T.
Is that part of our deal too? The Comcast thing?
Can I ask about that?
Yes,
The request, the
correct,
connection.
I got cut off.
They'll come and, set up the equipment, if there's any more on the outside, but also on the inside,
Very good, great.
so.
Okay. Questions? If not, let's move on to the A1A.
The A1A project is speaking with the contractor yesterday morning. We try to speak every morning. And he believes that by a week from today, that they'll be up to sea road with the work that they're doing. So, but there's a lot of, testing and pressure testing and things that they have to do, to make sure that the pipes are clean and sanitized for the health department. So that takes a while, and I learned a lot of things about putting in new water mains, and so, of course, they want to make sure they're all totally sanitized, and it takes a while. The water has to run through them continuously, like 72 hours, so that's why sometimes on these Little Club and County Road, you saw water kind of coming down the street. Well, that's a requirement of the health department to flush out the line. So that's real good news. They're still working. I mean, we had some bad weather, but they're still working within the timeline. And they have actually begun the work in the core in please remember that they're taking that in sections. So where they're starting is at an old club, old school, and polo. And, so you might not have seen some of the work they're doing, but that's because they're locating existing gas lines, sewer lines, and the water mains at this point in time. So what's been happening is because we're using FNC, as you know, to do that, they've actually hired more employees. And so that's why we have a lot of cars out here, if you're wondering why. That's one thing that we are trying to do to help them, you know, with their work. And so they've hired more employees and they're pulling some off of the A1A job. You know, it's different day to day, so, but I really believe that the work out there in the Corps is not gonna take that long, so.
Question, when the A1A work is finished, that is, the new pipe is laid, it's been tested and active, what do they do with respect to paving A1A?
Okay, so, sorry for interrupting, but it's a completely new lift of asphalt for the southbound lane of traffic, from the middle of the road to the edge of pavement.
So on the southbound lane
That's right.
only? And it crosses over though at one or two spots, doesn't it? Doesn't it cross over to the northbound?
No.
It does not?
It's all it's all under the southbound line.
Okay, all right, good.
And of course, then the final thing they'll do is restore all of the damage that they've done in the right of way there, but,
The landscaping.
correct, yeah. So, and please, I mean, they film all that, I mean, they have a film company that comes out and films the site before they ever, you know, dig the first hole. So they know what it looks like before, and, but that's obviously part of the contract to restore everything to its original condition.
Perfect. Questions? Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
And they'll restore everything over at, in the core to original conditions as best they can, because they're taking some things out to work on the project, so.
Great, sounds like things are moving forward. ARPV meeting, next one is October 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Anyone wishes to attend. Finance Director's report. Dunn?
Yes, the finance report that you have represents the end of the year balance sheet. What I need to caution you is, and this happens every year, is that we'll continue to be recording revenues for probably a couple of months. I mean, that's normal, so. And unless you have any questions, I'd ask for you to approve it.
Any questions? All right. Submitted.
And the water report too,
Any questions on the water?
not unusual.
Yeah, it seems pretty standard, we'll accept that as well. Chief?
Request that the, report be submitted and, accepted as submitted, no additions or deletions. We, would like to just update you on our, process for finding a new officer. We do have one on the line. We've got an application for him. We're doing a background investigation on him at this time. If all goes well, within 2 weeks, we should be able to have him out here on the road.
That's great.
He actually, give you his background. His background is at Florida Highway Patrol. For 25 years he's worked.
Okay.
So he should be an excellent person.
That's great, look forward to meeting him. All right, thank you very much, Chief, accept the report as submitted. Let's move on now to 10A, and that is regarding urban design kill day and a comprehensive plan. Mr. Dunn.
Yes, so everybody is familiar with, every town and city has a comprehensive land use, plan. It's made up of several elements, that, are really policy documents, for the town, policy documents that have, goals and objectives, for the town to, as they consider land use decisions, for them to follow. The the Department of Economic Opportunity for the state, which used to be called, and I'm used to, from years in the past, used to be called the Department of Community Affairs. So any land use planning issues, approvals by the various towns and cities, depending on the size, usually had to be approved by the Department of, the DCA, as it was known, the Department of Community Affairs. But that's now called the Department of Economic Opportunity. What they have, the edict that they have sent down to towns and cities is that they are requiring that the coastal management element, particularly obviously for towns and cities that have a coast and have an intercoastal, we update the elements in our plan to address certain issues, and I can just recite a couple that would be required. It would be required to have the following components: include development and redevelopment principles, strategies, and engineering solutions that reduce the flood risk in coastal areas, which result from high tide events that we've been having, storm surge, which we also had, flash floods, stormwater runoff, etc. Encourage the use of best practices, development and redevelopment principles, strategies, and engineering solutions that will result in the removal of coastal real property from flood zone designations. Identify site development techniques and best practices that may reduce losses due to flooding and claims made under flood insurance policies. Be consistent with or more stringent than the flood-resistant construction requirements in the Florida Building Code and applicable floodplain management regulations, and encourage local governments to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. So again, I'll repeat that we already have a comprehensive plan that has a coastal management element in it. But we are going to be required to update it to meet these policy upgrades, if you will. That just remember that the words, the important words in this are, encourage, for instance, identify, and encourage local. So these are policies that they want us to include in here that, again, have goals and objectives, but it's the actual code itself that is the enforcing authority of the town. That any codes that we might make reference to these goals and objectives would be the enforcement part of this whole process. And so what I would like today is to get your authority to engage Urban Design Kilday. They're the ones that created this for the town. So they're very familiar with our plan, and so that's why we'd like to, and we do have them really under contract as their town planners. You're familiar with Marty Miner, and so he would be doing this for us, and so we'd like to engage them to update our comprehensive plan with respect to the coastal management element in it.
Approximately what would the cost of that be?
They did one this past year for Ocean Ridge at a cost of $15,000. Ours will not be that; it won't reach that amount because ours is not as complicated as Ocean Ridge. Ocean Ridge, they have to deal with mangroves, they have parks, and so they have a lot of elements that don't apply to Gulfstream. Also, our existing coastal management element addresses some of these items that they're talking about already, or at least to some degree. And so what I will talk to Marty about, I said, and he's doing it based on the hours that he puts into this job. So I said, well, would a not to exceed 12,000 cover it? He said, oh, absolutely, and I feel like that it would probably come in under 10,000. Because I don't think the time that he needs to spend on this is gonna be like he did in Ocean Ridge. I mean, they had, in Ocean Ridge, for example, he told me they had special meetings, they had a committee that, got into the weeds of this, and I said, I don't expect that to happen here. It will go to ARPB first, and then come to the town commission for a first reading, then it goes to the state for their review, and then comes back to the town for a second reading. So it's a period of about 3 or 4 months.
Any questions? It's something we need to do. The state wants us to do it. There's a concern over rising tides, and heavens knows we have flooding issues here in the town. So
I think it would be very helpful.
let's do it. And the cost does not seem, unreasonable to me. So are we in
Yes.
agreement to authorize the town manager to engage Urban Design Kilday to begin this project? Tom?
Need
Yeah.
a motion?
Yeah,
Good. I don't know, do we need a motion?
Yeah, because it's an expenditure.
I'll move to authorize Urban Kilday to go ahead with the design and have the town manager in charge of it or improve it or
Yeah, I'll
Oversee it.
we'll manage it, and we really don't know what the final cost will be. We just will know that it won't go over 12,000. I feel safe that it probably won't even go over $10,000.
Okay.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second?
Ms. Teal?
Vice Mayor Stanley,
yes,
Commissioner White,
Yes?
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yeah.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Anything else, Mr. Dunham?
No, sir.
Okay, commissioners, issues, questions you'd like to raise?
I just have one question, is, also, I guess I could go down and look too, the new house that's being constructed, have they started it, or have they bulldozed it, or?
Which one?
It's the new
On-
construction on Old School Road, on the water.
No, they have not done their demolition yet.
Are they gonna do it before the season?
Well, they better.
Well, I'm
But
asking
the
because
season-
seawall,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really do a seawall during the season.
Right, and, there's a lot that you can't do during the season, and we as the staff, we make that clear to everybody that's doing work, especially now with applications that are going through now. So, we could look up to see, if their demolition permit's been approved,
No,
but.
that's not your problem technically.
Right, it's not, so,
But-
but it's a good point, because they cannot drive piles, they can't, during the season, so we make that clear to everybody.
Yeah, and was there, communication with the other neighbors that all this was happening to raise the seawall? My issue is the seawall, talking about rising tides. And I made this point before, once that big seawall goes up, the other ones are gonna be like this. And,
Oh, no,
high
it's-
tides, they're coming over at the other end of, where I live.
Mhm.
I mean, we're a little higher,
Yeah.
but the sea level is, have you been communicating with other neighbors?
Oh, yeah,
about
I mean, we do that.
what's going to happen?
Well, we do that a little more, a little closer to when the work is to begin. So
Okay.
they're not surprised. And so, I mean, it's a timing thing, so. Anytime, it's like the work we do out here in the Corps. I mean, we're not putting notices on the doors of people that live on the south side of Gulfstream Road, because it's not gonna happen, in the next week or two. That's gonna be kind of the last area that we start on. So we try to, it's like, putting political signs up. You try not to do that 3 months before, because people will, they won't pay attention to it. So we try to do it a little closer to when they start the work.
Yeah, because it takes time to get permits, and so if they're already in the permitting stage, their wall's going up and these other people might be trying to catch up to their wall. Do you understand what I'm saying? Their wall's going in and the rest of the people aren't.
Go ahead, Rita.
The neighbors all received notices when before we even had the, approvals given, but, and the architect was handling the whole thing. And we were very careful to explain to the architect this problem of the season being upon them. And they fully realized that, so that any questions that came up, they knew they were expected to handle it. So they did have, the neighbors did have notice. And
From the town, and then
Yes.
are we gonna follow up with the architect to make sure?
well, we've already followed
Yeah.
up with the architect
Yeah.
about what
And
the season is gonna cause.
Sure, and it's
Yeah,
also, I mean, we're having to do the same thing with the house next to Mr. Lyons. I mean, they haven't demoed that yet, and so, of course, now the season doesn't start till December 1st, so I'm quite confident that, the demo part of each job will be done before December 1st. But, I mean, there's a lot of pile driving, there's a lot of concrete pouring, you know, and initially in some of these, new houses, stick-built houses, and of course, that kind of thing really can't be done during the season.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about demo as I'm concerned about the seawall.
Well, yeah, and typically the seawall is not one of the first things that they do, on a construction job, but.
They should.
Well, I mean, I don't know, it makes sense to you and me, but, I mean, typically, I mean, the house, it just seems to me like regularly the house is worked on and then they start working on the seawall, but I don't, it's not usually the first thing they do, but I could be wrong, so we will continue to remind them that that the season starts on December 1.
Well, and the owner of this property is a current resident in the town,
I know.
so he should have some knowledge of what's going on.
Okay.
I'd like to bring something else up, kind of segueing off of the urban design Kilday. The town manager at this point, and historically, at least as long as I've been here, has had an authorized limit of $10,000 for approving small projects and whatnot, and I think it's inadequate. It's been that way for decades. The costs are such that I think it should be, that authority should rise. Not in this particular case, actually, the urban design Kilday should be brought to us for review because of the project, but just in terms of more discretionary spending. So I'd like to get your thoughts on whether that's a good idea, and if so, what number you would feel comfortable with. My understanding is other towns are in the $20,000 to $25,000 range, but those are bigger towns. I think that's too much, but I just wanted to get your thoughts.
It makes sense in today's world, everything being so much more expensive. Of course, we have a lot of confidence in Greg right now and know him, you know, if my only, if for some reason you make a new hire and a number is there and you don't know someone. But I do agree that it probably would be worthwhile to have a higher number there that limits Greg.
The only comment is that we do so many things that seem to hover around the $10,000 mark that we always have to wait another 3 weeks to get approval on it or something. And, so sometimes it slows down, either work that we're doing or the purchase of equipment that we might need. So that's
What number do you think, 15 maybe?
15 would sure be better than 10. We do have.
Well.
It just seems like we have so many projects, smaller projects that hover around that $10,000 mark, and so we watch it, very closely. If it's 10,500, well, we bring it to you, So, I mean, 15,000 would sure help.
Tom?
I I have a question or a comment. So if we go to 15,000, and again, we know the team that we have now, but this has got to last for a while. Is there a limitation to how many $15,000 items can be approved in 1 month before the next meeting? Because I've had, not related to a municipality, but, you know, issues in other places where you kind of go down this road, and then all of a sudden you've got a $200,000 line item 6 weeks later. You know, although we're engaged, we're not at town hall every day. I will leave it at that. And so I don't know if you have a comment as to that, Greg.
No, that is a good point.
How frequently does it come up? Once a month?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least, once a month, but it's certainly not, 5, 6, 7 times, no. I mean, but, I would say 1 or 2, 3 times a month. Rebecca could probably give me a better clue about that. She doesn't tell me.
Well, the point is to expedite smaller projects. You still
Correct.
report back to
Oh, yeah.
expenditures.
And we'll still see it the next month. I mean, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I'm just making a comment.
No, and I appreciate your comment, and that you're right, I understand what you're saying.
But if, yeah.
We, and I guarantee you, I mean, even at 10,000, I mean, if we spend $9,000 on something, I always tell you guys, about it. So, so.
All right, let's just do it at 15. I mean, it doesn't happen more than once or twice a month, and it's not every month.
You know, though, maybe we should see how many times it happens. I mean, I think Tom had a really good point, is how many are we allowed to give within the year? I mean, not the month. Because sometimes you get 2 projects in a month, and then you won't need something else for another 9 months.
That's
so
true.
I think we should do it by the year.
See, I mean, this period of time is a good example. Because we've got a project going, we've got a couple of things going on, and so they always have field adjustments that have to be met. That's why we have contingency funds and things like that. So a good example are some of the change orders that we've had just on this project. We've had 3 or 4, and one was 40. I think one was 9,700. So it doesn't happen that often, but when you have construction projects going on, it happens more often. I mean, another one that's going to be coming up here is, well, it's related to undergrounding, that there may need to be more crossings, conduit crossings of A1A, one of the services, and so I've got FMC here that's working out here, and if make the undergrounding project go sooner, they can do it on a day's notice. See, that's an example of, and I think this example, the cost of doing what is being suggested to be done is about $12,000, $12,000 or $13,000. And so, to try to move it along, that would be and we would do that as a change order. But if it's 15, then that one we could go ahead and do in an effort to move it along instead of waiting 3 months to help, complete.
I think the difference is, just to clarify, that change orders that happen on the field, that's in their budget, not our budget. I mean, we don't pay additional for a change order that's happening out
Oh,
here.
no, we do.
But they have a contingency fund when they change.
We have a contingency fund.
We,
That's right.
okay.
So
And that comes under the $10,000.
Well, I mean, that would be an expense that would be similar to any other kind of $10,000 expense. So the town always has a contingency fund for projects like this. That, if there are infield changes that need to be made, and they've got contractors that are working, that are on the dime for getting the project done, and I have to wait 3 weeks to get a change order done. you know, that,
Okay, so that's under the 10,000,
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to understand.
yeah. I mean, so the town always budgets a contingency fund, it's, 10 or 15% of the total cost to cover these kinds of things.
And the 10,000 is capped by this, too.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, if it gets out of hand, we can stop.
I mean, you guys can tell us to stop.
I mean, rather than setting a limit, what Tom pointed out makes sense, but probably more in a large city where it's easy to bury the numbers. Here it's not, and, just seems to me if it were abused.
I just think, yeah, with construction projects, you know, that's when it shows up mostly here. Other ones, if it's over 10,000, well, it's no big deal. I mean, if there's no, you know, if it doesn't impact the schedule somehow.
I would support 15,000, and, with the hopes that it will help expedite some projects.
Yeah, I'm okay with 15.
Perfect.
Good? We probably need a motion for that, I think.
I'll move to increase the limit from 10,000 to 15 under the, town manager's discretion, I guess.
And mind you, I would absolutely always report those to you.
Just remember, it comes out of your stuff.
I second the motion.
Like a cashier colors. We check the change. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Taylor?
Second.
Vice Mayor Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Orthwein,
Yes.
Mayor Morgan.
Yes. Another item, and I'm sorry to bring all this up, but we have a short meeting today, so I figured it's time to do it. And that is Little Club Road. Last year, I believe it was, Rita put together a list of all the private roads in town. And most of them are really nothing more than driveways with a few homes on them. But one of them is a significant road in my opinion, and staff's as well. And that's Little Club Road, which is the northernmost entrance to the town. It is owned by different groups. You've got Little Club, you've got the Casitas, you've got St. Andrews. It's very hard to get unanimity on improving it. There's landscaping in the middle of it. Who's gonna pay for that? When would it be done? It just seems to me that that's a road that should be taken over by the town. And I'd like to get your thoughts on that. We would maintain it and keep it looking right.
We're maintaining it or paving it?
We're not doing either.
I know, that's what I mean. What's the cost of it? I think that's approximate cost.
The work that needs to be done to it now, I'd have to have engineers that would have to come up with that cost. It's got drainage problems, it's got, I mean, it's in really bad shape.
Yeah.
It's got a bunch of issues that continue to morph.
Yep. So that road's owned in fee. You know, you can go down in sequence as the mayor mentioned. You know, the St. Andrews vis-a-vis the tennis court parcel, the Hillside House. You know, that in front of that building. You know, within the boundaries of their lot, the Little Club, and then the entryway to the Casitas. And so it's got to be repaved and re-engineered. And two, you've got one catch basin below, just at the west driveway of the Hillside House, which was bored out, and that actually drains into one of the ponds. And since that was bored out, the drainage has been better. And then, as Greg mentioned, secondarily, you've got the drainage issue at the west parking lot of the Little Club, and also the entrance of the Casitas, which is a significant ponding all the time, and we have not determined any party, I guess, where that water should go and what the plan is. So those are your 3 or 4 overlying issues. I mean, legally, it's just one road, and you know, you'd have a description and all of that and a declaration, but those are kind of the 3 or 4 main issues that we may have to look at if the town wants to obviously take over the road and make it a public road.
One comment and a question of the Vice Mayor. The comment, I mean, that the road would need to be completely re-engineered, and because the base of that road is gone, and it's just in very bad shape. So, I mean, you pretty much almost have to rebuild the road.
Right.
But it has severe drainage problems. And Vice Mayor, I've met with a civil engineer who came to the town and on behalf of the Little Club and Las Casitas, and they're I'm sure you know about it, but they're considering, you know, using him to try to address those drainage issues there at the Little Club parking lot and in Las Casitas at this point in time.
Right. Yeah. There's no catch basin there, and I don't know whether you'd have to directional bore a line to a pond. You have to send the water somewhere.
Correct. So, and now the civil engineer is a very good one, so I have all confidence in the world that he would do the right thing. But you know, we talked to them all together because it's, you know, we've got a construction project there that we haven't quite finished yet, and so anyway.
Well, the point is not to make a decision today. I just wanted to throw it out to have you thinking about it, because it really is it's a concept of what's the responsibility of the municipality? You know, we have a lot of private roads in this town, which is unusual. And those roads must be maintained and repaired by the residents who are on the roads and own it. This one just seems to me to be different, and it strikes me as a municipal responsibility. But you may feel differently. So I'm just throwing it out there to think about it, and let's maybe bring it up at the next meeting and talk about it some more.
I understand those Little Club roads, but I think once we do one private road, you're gonna have to consider other ones too. I mean, the road down near the Gulfstream Mountain is what, they did all the drainage work down there. I forgot who did it and how much did it cost? You know what I'm saying? Because that floods all the time down there. But I think you have to be careful if you're going to take on one private road. You're going to have to make allowances to take on other roads. I don't think you can do one and not another one.
Well, that's what we need to think about. I mean, I think we can. I don't know why we have to take on other private roads that have the different interests.
There's nothing that serves the public over here. Is there? I mean, because it's a private club, it's private casinos.
Well, what the mayor's trying to say, I think one of the reasons why you would push it forward to discuss in the future would be because this is one of the few roads that actually has, although the hillside's not that big, you've got you got one private club, you know, that's a one-off, but you've got two what we call multifamily, you know, housing developments, for lack of a better word, one condominium and one vertical condominium that service this road. So it's a little burdensome on a private road as maybe to some other places in town.
That's true.
Well, whatever. Just give it some thought. I've been mulling it over for quite a while, and I've gone both ways on this. So I just would like to get everybody's thoughts and then see.
So you're saying it's more for a private condo. It'd be harder for a private road. Mull it over.
Mull it over.
It was a new thought for the moment.
And then finally, I'd like to, on behalf of the town, congratulate Kirsten Stanley, the vice mayor's wife, who won the Boca Ballroom Dance Battle.
There we go.
For the George Snow Scholarship Fund. Congratulations to her. It was really, really exciting to watch, actually. It was a lot of fun. So that's all I have. Nothing else. Meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Okay, take care. Be safe out there.